America's job market just took a devastating punch. In the last 6 months alone, thousands of workers have been laid off by corporate giants once considered untouchable. From Silicon Valley to Wall Street, companies worth trillions of dollars are slashing payrolls to survive. Amazon, Google, Disney, Tesla, cutting deep while executives collect multi-million-dollar bonuses. Families are losing homes, savings are vanishing, and small towns built around these corporations are collapsing. This isn't a recession warning. It's already here. Behind every pink slip lies a story of a nation on edge, as America's biggest employers quietly bleed the economy dry. Number 10. Amazon. When the world's largest online retailer starts letting go of its own people, it's not just a corporate decision, it's a national alarm bell. Amazon, the $1.6 trillion giant that once symbolized unstoppable growth, has slashed 14,000 employees across multiple divisions. From warehouses in Ohio to cloud servers in Virginia, the cuts are sweeping, cold, and brutal. These aren't minimum wage packers. Many are engineers, logistics analysts, and managers who built the machine that fueled America's pandemic economy. The cuts strike at AWS, Amazon Web Services, once a profit engine bringing in $90 billion annually, now struggling as businesses reduce cloud spending. E-commerce revenue has stagnated, growth barely hitting 3% compared to the explosive 37% boom of 2020. The warehouses tell the real story: half-empty shelves, silent belts, and workers holding pink slips instead of scanners. Amazon's labor force once peaked at 1.5 million. But automation, overexpansion, and collapsing consumer demand turned that power into a burden. Financial reports call it efficiency realignment. Economists call it something deeper: the collapse of the consumption model. When everyday Americans can't afford groceries, streaming, or gadgets, even the world's biggest retailer bleeds. Consumer spending has dropped in real terms since mid-2024, and inflation has eaten away every discount Amazon once bragged about. Inside the company, morale is at record lows, leadership dodges questions, internal memos call this a necessary storm. In Seattle, cafes near HQ report traffic down 30%. Amazon was built on speed, scale, and convenience. Now it's being crushed by those very strengths. The empire that promised 2-day delivery couldn't deliver 2 days' notice. When a trillion-dollar titan cuts at the core, it's not about efficiency, it's about survival. Number 9. Google. Alphabet. When Google lays off thousands, it's not just a cost cut, it's the brain of Silicon Valley trimming its own neurons. Alphabet, worth over $1.8 trillion, has let go more than 12,000 employees, AI researchers, product designers, even veterans who shaped the future of search. Inside Mountain View, silence replaces the hum of innovation. Entire divisions in YouTube, Google Cloud, and Pixel hardware are told to pack up. Engineers who built AI algorithms powering billions of devices are dismissed through short emails. In the name of efficiency, Google's innovation pipeline is being dismantled piece by piece. Digital ad revenue has collapsed. In 2024, ad income fell nearly 8%, wiping out billions in projected profit. Companies cut marketing budgets. YouTube views are down. Competition from TikTok, Meta, and AI-driven search startups erodes dominance. Cloud, once a savior, missed growth targets by billions last quarter. Payroll ballooned to 190,000 during the pandemic, and is now unraveling under its own weight. Workers log in to find accounts disabled. Your role has been impacted. Decades of service erased in a line. For the economy, this isn't isolated. Each cut is lost income, vanished startup spending, and crumbling confidence in the tech sector that once symbolized American innovation. When the smartest company in the world starts cutting its thinkers, it's not productivity, it's panic. If Google is scared, who isn't? Number 8. Boeing. For over a century, Boeing stood as the pride of American engineering, safety, strength, success. In 2025, that legend is falling apart. 12,000 jobs cut, production delays, safety scandals, and staggering debt. After aircraft malfunctions and lawsuits costing billions, Boeing is grounded by its own failures. Plants in Washington and South Carolina, once buzzing, now stand quiet. Total debt exceeds $52 billion. Interest payments drain hundreds of millions every quarter. Airline demand slows. Suppliers shut down. Global orders get cancelled. Stock down over 40% in 2 years, tens of billions erased. But the deeper tragedy is human. Skilled engineers and technicians, decades of experience, shown the door. Families in Everett and Renton face unemployment lines for the first time in generations. Local housing falls, small businesses close. Analysts warn the ripple could cost another 30,000 indirect jobs. This isn't just defective planes, it's corporate decay, profit over quality, shortcuts over safety, bonuses over futures. For an industry that lifted America to the skies, Boeing's fall feels like gravity reclaiming what arrogance let go. Number 7. Disney. Once Disney wasn't just a company, it was America's escape from reality. In 2025, even magic has an expiration date. Facing streaming losses, park declines, and crushing debt, Disney has laid off 7,000 across its empire. Executives call it strategic restructuring. The numbers say otherwise. Streaming lost billions. Theme park attendance in Florida and California is down double digits. Families can't afford $180 tickets, $10 churros, and $400 hotel rooms. Debt sits at tens of billions. Content budgets slashed. Beloved projects canceled. Entire animation teams, artists who brought life to Pixar and Marvel, replaced by cheaper contractors or AI tools. In Florida, the pain goes far beyond Mickey. Tourism revenue collapses. Small vendors near Disney World report sales plunging. Seasonal workers, stranded. We gave our lives to make people smile, one former Imagineer says, and they replaced us with algorithms. Inside Burbank, tension rises, profit versus creativity. When joy becomes unaffordable, the illusion of prosperity cracks. Families cut vacations, cancel subscriptions, skip parks. The middle class quietly collapses. The Magic Kingdom didn't lose its magic by accident. It was sold, downsized, and automated away. Number 6. Tesla. For years, Tesla was the crown jewel of American innovation, reinventing transportation, freeing the world from oil. In 2025, the electric dream flickers. 14,000 job cuts, about 10% of the workforce. Plants in Texas, Nevada, and California scale back as global EV demand slows. Battery material costs surge. Chinese competitors undercut on price. Delivery growth, once 50% year-over-year, collapses to barely 5%. Overexpansion meets overconfidence. Billions invested in new gigafactories, betting on endless demand. High interest rates crush car financing. A Model Y payment climbs above $900, pricing out the middle class. Stock loses hundreds of billions in market cap. Insiders whisper deeper issues, quality control slipping, delayed Cybertruck orders, mounting safety recalls costing over $1 billion. Inside plants, the mood is grim. Departments merged or erased overnight. Engineers who built self-driving systems, told AI will handle it. The ripple is devastating. Suppliers in Michigan, logistics in Nevada, solar teams in Texas, all at risk. The electric revolution didn't fail because of technology. It's failing because Americans can't afford the future they were promised. Number 5. Meta. In Silicon Valley, they called it the year of efficiency. For tens of thousands at Meta, it was the year of heartbreak. 20,000 jobs cut across Facebook, Instagram, and Reality Labs. Market value, once above $1 trillion, down dramatically from its peak. The metaverse, a $13 billion burn last year, became one of tech's most expensive failures. Hallways stand empty. Cafes are silent. Survivors avoid eye contact, fearing they'll be next. Automated messages end careers with a single line: your role has been eliminated. Ad revenue. Meta's lifeblood drops by billions. Small businesses cut marketing. Gen Z abandons Facebook. Instagram bleeds engagement to TikTok. Threads, the supposed Twitter killer, loses most of its daily users within months. Reality Labs keeps draining billions per quarter. Investors furious. Employees disillusioned. A refocus paid for with livelihoods. Many on six-figure salaries with families, mortgages, student debt, now part of a wave hitting tech harder than at any time since 2008. The social media bubble that connected billions is bursting under its own weight. The company that promised to bring people together is tearing itself apart. Number 4. Warner Brothers Discovery. Hollywood promised infinite entertainment. Behind the red carpets, mass layoffs, debt and despair. Over 5,000 jobs cut since the merger. The company drowns in nearly $48 billion of debt. Every quarter, interest devours profits. In 2024 alone, billions were written off in cancelled films and shelved projects. Streaming was supposed to save it. Instead, subs stagnate. Ad revenue falls. Content budgets collapse. Dozens of series pulled to avoid royalties. Creators enraged. fans devastated, longtime editors, producers and crews, jobless, entire animation studios shut. Union leaders warn of tens of thousands of supporting jobs vanishing across California and Georgia. Executives say streamlining. Insiders say survival. Stock plunges. Soundstages go dark. The pain spreads. Caterers, costume shops, small suppliers collapse. When even the storytellers can't afford to tell stories, the nation's economy is in trouble. The Dream Factory is firing its dreamers. No one's writing a happy ending. Number 3. UPS. For decades, UPS was the lifeline of commerce, the trucks, planes and drivers that kept the economy alive. In 2025, it's delivering bad news: 12,000 job cuts after a collapse in e-commerce demand. At the peak, UPS moved nearly 25 million packages a day. Today, under 18 million. Billions evaporate from the logistics chain. Revenue plunges. Net profits nearly halve. Warehouses in Atlanta, Chicago, and Louisville scale down. Sorting lines sit idle. Officially it's market normalization. Insiders say it's worse. Consumers stop buying. Inflation ate disposable income. Small online sellers vanished. Corporate contracts shrank. These layoffs hit more than drivers, administrative teams, warehouse managers, mechanics. Towns like Roswell, Georgia, feel the shock as local businesses lose their lifeblood. When shipping slows, it's not logistics that's broken, it's spending. Stock down. Market value wiped out. Competitors slashed too, signaling a nationwide slowdown. UPS once symbolized reliability. What can Brown do for you? Now millions ask what they'll do next. The engine that connected America is sputtering. The road ahead looks empty. Number 2. Intel. Intel built the digital age. Its microchips powered laptops, data centers, and cloud servers. In 2025, the giant is crumbling. 15,000 layoffs, the largest in its history. After losing major PC market share to AMD and Apple, revenues plunged from the 60s to the 40 billions in just 2 years. Factories from Arizona to Oregon run at half capacity. The company spent over $20 billion building new plants, betting on a semiconductor boom. Instead, consumer electronics demand crashed. AI-focused competitors overtook relevance. Overproduction, overspending, overwhelming debt. Executives call it restructuring. Behind the language is panic. Thousands of engineers, decades of expertise, out of work. Entire research teams on next-gen chips dismantled. Suppliers and contractors across the Pacific Northwest report cancellations and unpaid invoices. Analysts warn of tens of thousands of indirect jobs at risk. Stock down, tens of billions erased. Government subsidies couldn't arrive fast enough to stop the bleeding. The company that gave the world speed and power can't keep up. In Silicon Valley, they call it the fall of the old guard. For America, it's the cracking of a foundation that made the US a tech superpower. Number 1. Walmart. When Walmart cuts jobs, America should listen. The country's largest private employer, over 1.6 million workers, quietly eliminates 25,000 positions, automates warehouses, and closes underperforming stores. For decades, Walmart symbolized affordability. The math no longer works. Inflation erodes spending power, and even low prices can't compete with empty wallets. Real retail sales fall. Household credit card debt hits record highs. Automation replaces people at lightning speed. New AI-driven fulfillment centers save billions, but at the cost of thousands of livelihoods. Cashiers, stockers, warehouse staff, told machines can do it faster. Inventory costs rise. Profit margins sit at decade lows. Food inflation over 3 years forces even loyal shoppers to cut back. In rural towns where Walmart is the last major store, layoffs mean local economies collapse. Shuttered supercenters stand as monuments to decay. Local diners and gas stations report sales down as much as 40%. For economists, Walmart's layoffs are the final signal. When the biggest retailer shrinks, the consumer economy, the beating heart of the US, is flatlining. Walmart once promised savings and stability. In 2025, it delivers a brutal reminder: when giants stumble, everyone feels the tremor. Texas real estate giant of the South is showing cracks. Median home prices statewide have fallen about 3.2% year over year, averaging around $331,000, over $70,000 below the U.S. median. Austin leads the decline at down 6.4%, followed by Dallas at -4.1%, San Antonio at -3.5%, and Houston at -2.8%. Inventory has surged over 30%, with more than 132,000 active listings, and homes take about 105 days to close, up sharply from last year. This is a major shift from the surge between 2020-2022, when low taxes, cheap land and corporate relocations by Tesla and Oracle drew hundreds of thousands of new residents. During that boom, listings vanished overnight, and prices skyrocketed. By 2024, supply doubled, erasing seller dominance. With mortgage rates hovering between 6.8% and 7.2%, affordability became the ceiling. Demand slowed, the psychology flipped. In 2021, buyers feared missing out. In 2025, they fear overpaying. Bidding wars disappeared. Seller concessions took over, covering closing costs, buying down rates, dangling incentives. But experts say this isn't a crash. Texas didn't overbuild like 2008. Population growth remains strong. This is recalibration, a repricing of risk. Affordability is the heart of it. A $330,000 home at 3% interest cost about $1,400 a month in 2021. In 2025, at 7%, that same home costs more than $2,600, before insurance or taxes. Middle-class buyers are priced out. Sellers cut prices or wait months for offers. Inventory is higher, but sales are down around 1.5% statewide. Insurance adds pressure. Across Texas, especially in Houston and along the Gulf, premiums are up 20 to 40% as carriers react to billion-dollar storm losses and wildfire risks. For many buyers, that's $200 to $300 more per month, wiping out any affordability gains. Lenders require larger escrow reserves, delaying closings already crawling past 100 days. Insurers pull back from flood-prone zones. Even minor FEMA map updates can freeze entire neighborhoods overnight. Liquidity is drying up, fewer deals close, and those that do take longer. Median days on market rise to 105. Listings jump to nearly 133,000, up 30.7% year-over-year. Homes still sell, but more slowly, and only after price cuts or negotiation. Realtors call it a pause market. Transactions happen, but at a crawl. Sometimes the slowdown hits instantly. A Fed statement hinting at delayed rate cuts can stall deals statewide within hours. Coastal insurance moratoriums after storm warnings do the same. These micro-freezes stop the market for days at a time, creating uneven momentum. Buyers watch interest rate news like weather reports. "We're not waiting for prices to drop anymore," one realtor says. "We're waiting for rates to breathe." Meanwhile, Texas's growth model strains. The no-income tax magnet attracts residents, but limits funding for infrastructure and housing programs. Local governments face zoning backlogs, staffing shortages, rising construction costs. Developers in Austin and Dallas complain permit times have doubled. Houston grapples with flood regulations and inspection bottlenecks. The result is a tangle of delays that reinforces the sluggish feel. Texas isn't one story, it's several. Austin hit hardest, down 6.4% as tech layoffs and luxury overbuilding weigh on prices. Dallas, Fort Worth shows mixed results, some suburbs down 4%, others slightly up thanks to corporate relocations. San Antonio falls about 3.5% as insurance and taxes offset affordability. Houston stays relatively stable, supported by oil jobs but pressured by insurance costs. Smaller cities, Waco, Tyler, College Station, buck the trend, with modest growth driven by remote workers and retirees chasing value. This uneven pattern defines 2025. Texas isn't collapsing, it's redistributing. Wealth and demand shift outward away from overheated metros toward balanced mid-sized markets. The frenzy of 2021 gives way to a cautious equilibrium, where patience and negotiation rule. By late 2025, analysts project prices to stay flat or dip slightly before rebounding in mid-2026, assuming rates ease. Texas's fundamentals, job creation, population growth, pro-business climate, remain intact. The scoreboard median price around $331,000, inventory up 30.7%, homes selling in 105 days, sales down roughly 1.5%. For buyers, this is a moment to wait and prepare financing. For investors, a selective buying window. For homeowners, a reminder the market didn't crash, it normalized. The Texas housing story of 2025 isn't destruction, it's discipline. the boom cooled, the market is breathing again, and the state's vast landscape is finding a slower, steadier rhythm, built to last.